welcome into the channel. So happy to have you here always. My name is Deborah, the owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is our weekly update. We're going to be looking at the energy for the week via the tarot, astrology, and any channeled messages that come through. So let's get into it. Super excited to be here as always. I've been reworking with thank you, all the love, sending all the love your way. I've been reworking, just our schedule, so just be patient with me. It seems like every time I am up and running, something else pops up. And actually, hey, Bloomer Nana, so excited to have you here. I hope you're doing well, girl. It actually does kind of like follow suit with the astrology. We have, Mercury just went into retrograde. We already have 3 planets in retrograde, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, which will follow us through the end of the year. And Jupiter, like I said, Jupiter is actually going into retrograde tomorrow. Mars is also going to go into retrograde next month. And Mars has I've talked a little bit about this on the channel. It's just been kind of weirdly aspected lately where we are being forced to slow down. And with Jupiter specifically going into retrograde, especially Mercury as well, there is this lesson of just like patience in the process. Maybe it's redundant. Maybe I have been saying this a lot, but in reality, it's just like the truth. It's just like what we need to do right now. And we're seeing that expressed a lot through the way Mars has been aspected lately, because Mars is our action potential. It's the way that we push things forward. And there's just not movement. There's not movement, not only where we want it to be, but where we think it's actually going to happen. Even if it's an idea that we're aligning with, that's like, yeah, this makes total sense. Sometimes it's just a no in this moment. It doesn't mean that's no forever. But again, really just kind of get comfortable with taking things slow, being patient, letting things kind of shake out. We're seeing also some resistance with Uranus. Uranus is also in retrograde, and it just actually moved back into Taurus. So we're needing or being forced to contend with the things that are kind of in front of us, things that we need to look at, deal with, manage, or just see how we can work with them in order to get from point A to point B. There's a lot of options. That's what I'll say. Like, try not to limit yourself just because things aren't shaking out exactly how you want it to. Again, that's easier said than done, but that's the ideal. Right now, it will give you way more peace, right? And that's really what this is about, giving you your own peace and sanity in the process. So that's also why I like to start these readings off with an energy cleansing. Just set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleanse out those places we might feel blocked or limited. It's a really great time to set your own intention as well, especially if you have something on your heart or mind that you would like Spirit to deliver messages to you around. Definitely give that over. Be open to receive. It's a really great way to like personalize these collective readings. It totally works. We're live, so, and you can always pop in with questions. I do try to answer as much as I can. I can actually see the comments today, so we're on the right path. But we're not, just as a heads up, we're not going to do any like personal readings right now. I am looking into that. I do have that on my radar. Just bear with me as I get myself acclimated. All right. So with that, let's get into the blessing. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so that I may see and understand the messages clearly and help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit guides, guardian angels, Mama Love, Mama Love. All right, so like I mentioned, so retrogrades are kind of front and center. We are seeing a little bit more tension beginning to midweek. I feel like this is a lot to do with the retrogrades that are going on. Jupiter governs our abundance, our happiness, that feeling of like luxury and affluence within our life. And you know, there's a lot of times that we want things to come through in a certain way. Right now, Jupiter's in Cancer. So it's easy to have certain expectations around things that, or people, situations that we idealize. As I'm saying this, disguise pops out. So being mindful of who and what are putting on a front, right? Like this has been a theme, especially with Pluto moving into Aquarius. It took a minute to get there, but now it's settling into, and it's allowing us to make changes, right? It's allowing us to make changes with people and situations that do better align. That just kind of goes without saying. Yes, that's always a life pursuit, but that is way more heavily in focus right now because we do have a lot of opportunity to shift and change. And last week we were looking at how our resilience has been working for us, right? You know, and okay, so this aspect of being the hero comes into play. We'll see who and what this is showing up in your life. I feel like a little bit like this is someone liking to play the hero. That's what I was hearing first and foremost. It can be places where maybe you are just being the hero in your own life, you know, like I was hearing like picking yourself up from some things that have been difficult and challenging, not necessarily having a lot of people, a lot of support on your side, on your team. And it has really shifted your perception around people, on situations. This is where some of that tension is playing out. And like I was saying, we're seeing a lot of tense aspects with Mars. Mars is tensely aspected to that Mercury retrograde full beginning of the week. And Mercury just moved into Sagittarius. So Sagittarian energy, it loves to expand, grow, like next thing, right? But it's actually being pulled back into Scorpio, where Scorpio forces us to address our feelings, our emotions, even kind of the dark, shady side of things, i.e. that disguise energy that I pulled out in the very beginning. We're also in Scorpio season, and there's definitely a lot of water energy, basically meaning that it's easy to get triggered right now. It's easy to get triggered. And that's kind of where I was talking about in the very beginning. Keep your expectations loose. I feel like if you are trying to play the hero, even if you are just like doing something good for someone else, keep your expectations really low, you know? I feel like you're going to get the most gratification out of honoring yourself this week is what I'm hearing, especially because we're seeing tension more midweek. But what I like, silver lining, don't hate me for being annoying if this is annoying, but it's actually forcing you to create, right? A lot of times when we come into tension and resistance, that's really where we create the most beautiful things. It looks like there is something on the table this week that does have a conversation maybe there's a conversation happening. It looks like something wants a change in perception. Maybe this is that person that's trying to play the hero. Someone seeing a situation completely differently than you. It seems like it's gotten things into a little bit of trouble. Yeah, lost soul is in the blocked energy. Maybe this person got themselves into trouble, right? Like this definitely reminds me of that Scorpio energy that I was talking about in the very beginning. Or the Scorpio season that we're in right now. You know, it's that value of like, if we let the dark, the shadow overtake, consume, if we keep like putting our energy, time into low vibrational things, well, that's definitely gonna keep us in that space, right? We are gonna feel lost. I don't feel like this is as much about you. I feel like this is whomever, whatever, is wanting the perception to be different. Maybe this is how this person dynamic feels a little bit better about themselves. But here's the thing for you. So let's get back to you, right? Like for you, it looks like it is changing your perception as well. Yes, everyone has their ideas of how they want the situation to go, or this person wants you to think X, Y, and Z about them, etc., right? But at the end of the day, really what matters is your perception and how you're seeing this. And I feel like this is being highlighted because, especially if you are finding yourself in a place where I don't know if you're overly helping, but like maybe you're being of service to someone else, you're helping them out. Just make sure that you're not getting lost in that energy. This might be something that you've been dealing with for quite some time. And for some of you, this is looking like someone's kind of wanting to revamp the relationship, try again, maybe find a different way to do things. And maybe that's part of where this communication is coming in. I don't know. It's really hard to like hear people right now. We have some tension with the moon and Mercury beginning of the week, with the moon and Venus. Like I said, Uranus isn't really buying into like the BS right now, because Uranus kind of wants to... Okay, so with Uranus in just moving into Taurus, it was in Gemini before. So it kind of wanted the opportunity to kind of change things up, do things a little bit differently. Maybe even kind of like show someone, I'm not going to do it how you want me to do it, right? Like I'm going to do it my own way. And within reason, this isn't like proving your point in a way that's getting back at someone. I don't necessarily get that vibe. But I kind of feel like you don't necessarily want to give someone the same type of accolades that you once did. Maybe let's look at this perception a little bit more. So beginning of the week, like I said, there's some sticky energy. The moon is generally hopeful, but in areas where, like I said, we have to be really honest and realistic. I love that we're coming out as the Empress. The places that we do have to be honest and realistic are going to, that's going to be kind of where we want to make sure that we're watching ourselves, that we're not necessarily like getting too caught up into the glitz and the glamour. And with you coming out as the Empress, the Ace of Cups, you're not necessarily like showing everybody like, hey, I feel like you're giving to a lot of different people, a lot of different situations in a lot of different ways. It might not be straight up like you are at everyone's beck and call, serving them. You might feel like that, but you're handling it. What I'm trying to get at is you're handling it with grace and fluidity, you know? And I feel like this is some of the perceptions about you that have needed to change. And I feel like this is definitely happening. The perception is changing because you're being forced to slow down. It does look like you have, okay, so we have King of Wands popping out here with this Ace of Cups. So new beginning, but there is conflict afoot. Like, it feels like things are, again, it goes back to why someone or something is really intent on changing the perception. And it looks like whomever you're dealing with, they're going to hold off. I don't think they're necessarily playing the long game, but it does look like they're kind of like, okay, maybe my plan is not working as quickly as I thought. Like, I feel like this is someone who kind of just thought they would give you X, Y, and Z, and you jump on board and everything would go back to being hunky-dory, right? But you're in this place, like I said, where like you might even be giving this person something, but they don't necessarily see it that way. They don't see it that way because it's not what they want and it's not how they wanted it. So there is a little bit of tension between you and another person. I think they're trying to save face. That's kind of what I see from their energy. Like, they don't want to reveal too much. They don't really want to share what they're thinking, how they're feeling. They're just trying to save face because, again, they really want you to see them as, whether it is a hero or whatever they're trying to like prove to you, they're very intent on proving it to you. And it hasn't necessarily gone, it hasn't necessarily gone how they anticipated it, but that's like Seven of Swords energy. It's just someone who's doing it in kind of these sneaky ways, right? And that's the thing about the King of Wands. He might be really good at doing whatever he's doing, you know, but he can also be very good at like covering his tracks or making appearances, making it seem like, right? Because he has a lot of ego and energy and charisma and whatever. Like, it's someone who can basically BS their way through something. And I feel like with this memory card popping out, this is definitely something of the past or someone really kind of like reminiscing about you, wanting this connection. Mercury is in retrograde, like I've said probably a bajillion times. Forgive me. But again, I feel like we're all kind of, because we're in this reevaluation stage, there's a lot going on right now that is forcing us to make really intentional decisions. And it looks like this is someone who wants you around, whether they want you back in their life or they're just someone who's had their eye on you for quite some time. And they're ready to kind of finally make some moves. I feel like you feel very much like you're on the sidelines. You're watching it all play out. Even if you're participating with this person, even if you're participating in the game, playing in the game, the match, I'll say, you're curious enough. You're curious enough to know what the offer is that's on the table. It looks like you have a few different people coming towards you this week. Again, Mercury retrograde. Also, Jupiter retrograde is putting focus on our money. My plan is to do a retrograde reading. So stay tuned for that, hopefully within the next couple days. Tomorrow's 11/11. I don't know. I feel like I can't record until the evening. I don't know. And it's kind of like a crazy week for me. So stay tuned. I'll try. But yeah, that's what's on my mind. So midweek. Okay, so there's our conflict. Like, there's just this looming kind of conflict. And I feel like or maybe that's the wrong way to say it. Maybe this is more about, because we have Judgment, we have Queen of Pentacles, Two of Wands, and we have the Judgment card. Like I said, it looks like you have either a few offers or people are wanting to connect with you this week. There is this Queen of Pentacles is offering something new, something to begin with. Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn energy. They're trying to, we have a lot of saving face. So I feel like you're dealing with a lot of people who are not necessarily being forthright with what their intentions are. And so it is a little difficult to kind of sift through because we have this Queen of Pentacles who's hiding some of the difficulty they're feeling, but they're also they also recognize that they have to approach you in a certain way. It can't be all business is what I'm seeing. And I feel like you almost won't even receive it if they are looking at it that way, if this makes sense. It looks like someone who's wants you to participate in something, wants to start something with you, grow something with you, establish something with you. You might have fallen out with them before, or there's just something about this person that it's kind of taken them a long time to come around. They're still not certain. Let's see why they're not. And there still is something around this where I feel like everybody is putting their own needs and wants on the table. It feels like a lot of deliberation in regard to this Queen of Pentacles. Like I said, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, it could be someone who's coming in to bring a little bit more stability into your life. Like I said, I feel like this energy might not know you directly, or it's a friend of a friend, or you get hooked up with this through mutual connections. But, okay, let's see what because we have the Death card, we have Judgment, we have Three of Cups, Seven of Pentacles. Well, yeah, and that kind of goes back to what I was talking about. If someone is not approaching you in the right way, then. And I feel like you're giving this person, this situation, something to think about. Again, maybe because they do have connections from the past, or you're just standing up for yourself a little bit more, right? The one thing about the hero is usually in that journey, right? He's learning how to connect with his worth. He's learning how to connect with his value, how to feel strong and confident in himself through overcoming the hardship, the challenges, the obstacles. We have the Emperor pop out with the Justice. We have Ace of Swords. Mercy. Okay, let's see. A lot of people popping up for you. Maybe these are unexpected connections too, is kind of what I'm seeing. And, like I said, you're not really revealing a lot either. I feel like just as much as maybe certain people are not revealing to you, maybe 100% what they think, I feel like you're kind of doing that as well. Beginning of the week, you really want to make sure that you're seeing people and situations clearly. And so even within yourself, you're not quick to decisions. You're having some awareness come in. 10 of Swords is wisdom gained after struggle. But I feel like this is someone else's struggle. I feel like they made you a part of that struggle. I feel like they're either trying to come and right those wrongs, or like I said, there looks to be a connection coming in that is kind of interested in collaborating with you to some capacity. But this is either someone who's going to have to approach the situation right, they're not tell you what you want to hear, but you're looking for very specific things. You're not just going with anyone or anything, because this feels like this is what has gotten you into trouble in the past, right? Lost souls in your blocked energy. Like, you could just be one of those people that's like always kind of like, picking up the strays along the way, or you're just kind of kind and loving and caring and like maybe not even realizing like what you're getting yourself into, right? But here's the thing, like what I love is it's talking a lot about how this is forcing you into your power that much more, right? Like, because I'm seeing we've been getting the Empress a lot for your energy lately, and you're moving towards this space of extending the hand of mercy. Mercy doesn't mean you're getting yourself back into a bad situation just because you do see it for what it is. But you can give someone the hand of grace. And I do feel like this is someone who needs it. This is someone who, like, let me see. Let's see. I'm hearing someone who's making plans. Someone who's making plans, to self-protect their emotions. Knight of Wands. So we have Four of Pentacles, Knight of Swords, and the Moon card. So someone's choosing to be like really strategic. Especially if this is like a long-term situation. Like, I feel like, well, and this could be many, many people, many dynamics. So just take what resonates, leave the rest behind. But it does feel like someone needs your mercy. That's what I'm getting at. It feels like maybe someone rushed ahead too quickly. This definitely feels like more that energy I was picking up in the very beginning of the reading, because like I said, we have a few different people on the board. But there's also someone who's like being challenged about what decision that they are going to make about you. And especially because of how the interaction between you two has gone. This feels like more like that energy that I was picking up in the very beginning, where someone's not necessarily getting the response out of you or what they thought, how they thought you were going to act. And it's kind of, it is putting them in this place where I do feel like they need your mercy, or they're very well aware of that, right? Like, They have to watch each step, each choice, each action that they're taking right now. Yeah, 100%, especially with the patron. Mentorship, finances. This is someone who might like having that control or is used to having that control, but it does feel like the tides have turned. Like, it feels like you are the one with the upper hand. We did have the Emperor coming in at the end of the reading. This feels like if someone is like remaining stubborn, this feels like someone, like if they just get so hell-bent on like doing it their way, and that's going to cause trouble for them in and of themselves. You don't even have to worry about that. The Hunter. Sure-footedness and predestination. This is definitely something that is kind of coming to head for both of you. And like I said, I feel like it's, I don't know, this person might kind of, if you give them enough rope type vibe, it has that energy. There is this level of stubbornness. You've remained determined. And I definitely get that like Queen of Swords vibe, where sometimes you do have to sacrificing short term in order to get your long term results. But that feels like stuff you've already been doing. This is just confirming that, like, I feel like you are wrapping something up. We kind of touched on this a little bit last week. We're going to be seeing a lot of endings, especially as we're navigating through Pluto moving into, or Pluto in Aquarius. It's only at like 1 degree right now, so it's like barely even got into that Aquarian energy. But that's kind of why we're seeing a lot of endings, right? And what we're ending with, the Enchanter, deception, trickery, right? Isn't that how we started the reading with disguise? So it's like someone here, I'm not saying everyone you're dealing with this week is shady and blah, blah, blah. I don't get that vibe. I feel like there's a main player. I feel like you know who and what that person is, because it feels like this is something you've been preparing for a long time, is what I'm hearing. And it looks like you're kind of coming to this point of climax where I feel like they're trying to change their tune. They're trying to change, how they're coming across, etc. I don't know. It doesn't look like you're buying into it. It feels like you're just waiting. It's like, okay, if that's what you're saying, then show me. You're definitely holding someone's foot to the fire. And someone's really liking your vibes, right? Someone's really they feel like you have something that works not only with them, for them, but like that you could actually build together that feels beneficial. I feel like there's some moving pieces in that dynamic that are going to need to get hammered out, and it might be humbling for both parties. So it's kind of like teetering on the fence. But I feel like whatever strength you're kind of cultivating from this lost soul, deceptive, charmer type energy is really kind of helping you launch into that new phase of your life, right? And making sure that when you are starting something new with someone, you're not just doing it because they want you to, right? You're actually like setting the boundaries and the guidelines for yourself as well, which is actually really benefiting you. So I'm seeing this week as like, a little bit of tension, a little bit of annoyance with whatever this situation is that you're continually having to deal with. But at the same time, it's like preparing you. I just see a lot more strength and courage and this ability to kind of handle and navigate with fluidity and grace, keeping your cards close to your chest, right? Not like I feel like just like not getting sucked in a way that maybe you had before. So I really like this energy for you this week. I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for your time, energy, always. I super appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope you found messages that resonated for you here. Definitely drop comments below. I love to hear, or just say, hey, I appreciate everybody that showed up and just did the live with me. Stay tuned. I will to be announced for tomorrow, either tomorrow or Wednesday. I'll go live again, and I'm going to try to get those dailies up and running as well as the zodiac reading. So thank you again for all the love, all the patience. I appreciate you, and just know I'm sending all the love and all the blessings back to you. I hope you have a fabulous week. See you.